Happy Friday. 1.2.10. So continuing, we're going to talk now about ports, cables, and adapters. So a lot of these you may have seen before, right? So pay attention to various nuances, things that you may not know, or small details. So we have video ports and cables. That's what we're going to talk about first. So arrow to the right. So here we have the first cable we're going to talk about is DVI. It stands for Digital Visual Interface. This one is very unique. If you look, right, you've got the data pins on the right, but over here we've got that horizontal grounding bar on the left over there. So you may not have seen this, but the Navy does use DVI a lot. And we're going to deep dive into that. If we scroll down, there are different types of DVI connectors. DVI-A, DVI-I, and DVI-D. So maybe on your notes, right, write DVI TAC A, give some space, DVI-I, and DVI TAC D. So the first DVI TAC A, that's for analog, that only allows analog signals. And we haven't really talked about analog versus digital yet, but analog, right, more like in a wave, and digital is more clear like this. So digital is a better signal. So DVI TAC A is one of the older legacy versions. Only supports analog output, right? Because these cables, right, you're connecting to your computer to an external display like a monitor. So it's taking the signal and it's outputting it to a display. So DVI TAC A, analog. All right, DVI TAC I supports both analog and digital. Specifically, it supports digital devices. Analog devices and digital output. Analog devices it supports, but it does digital output. For DVI TAC I and for DVI TAC D, you've both got single link and dual link. For both of those, right, single link versus dual link is going to have higher bandwidth, so higher potential speeds. And for DVI TAC D, that supports digital devices and so just digital. DVI-D, just digital. DVI-A, just analog. DVI-I, both, right? Single link versus dual link has more bandwidth. And that's what all this text down here is saying in a nutshell. Now for you all, you're going to need to know the details about all the cables we talk about and be able to identify them as well. More time for anyone? All right, let's go scroll back up and we'll push to the right to look at the next cable, which is DisplayPort. Now look at this. This is almost a perfect rectangle, but if you look in the top left-hand corner, there is a notch, which means this cable is keyed. Very right. It can only be oriented one way. So this is DisplayPort. This is just like everything else, right, for a monitor, for high-end graphics, home theater equipment, and displays. So you have DisplayPort. There's also a smaller version of this called Mini DisplayPort. But for DisplayPort, right, be able to recognize that it's a rectangle with a notch out of it. Next, we have HDMI. Does anyone know what HDMI stands for? He either knew it or he read off the slide. Either way, great job. High definition multimedia interface was originally developed for high definition televisions. For those born in the 1900s like me, HD when this came out was defined as what resolution? What do you got? What does everybody think of HD as? What resolution? Yeah. 1080? It's actually 720, right? When this came out, right? High definition, 720. Would you consider that high definition today? No, probably not, right? But when that came out, right, that was high definition. So HDMI was developed for high definition televisions. There's also a mini version of this called mini HDMI. The form factor is the same, right? Long on top, skinny on the bottom, angled out. So this is keyed, can only be oriented one way. Question?
So what's the difference between HDMI and a
DisplayPort. Just different technologies, right? So like you've got all these competition, right, and these standards, right? So you've got DisplayPort, HDMI, DVI, and all this stuff, right? So as the technology has evolved, different companies have tried to make better cables, and it's becoming more and more standardized these days. Another question here. So I've got my computers pushed to you now. Can you look onto the TV or your shipmate screen? Avia's got you? Okay. Any other questions? Phone on silent. All right, the next one is Thunderbolt. Does anyone know what company made Thunderbolt? Apple, right? So there's different versions of Thunderbolt. This is for high speed, for various peripherals. A lot of storage, right, like your hard drives. Now, if you're going to have redundant hard drives for speed or for redundancy, that's called RAID, which we'll talk about later. So this is great for RAID arrays for backups or increasing your speeds as well. It's also great for your network speeds, etc. And DisplayPort was used to help build the USB-C cables. Let's go to the next one. We have Thunderbolt 3. Uses the same connector as USB-C, right? Because they use that technology of Thunderbolt to help build that open source standard of USB-C. Great. Next, we have VGA, Video Graphics Array. And other names for this is DE or HD or DB15. That 15 comes from the 15 pins. If you look, there's 3 rows of 5 pins on this VGA. Now this one you probably have seen before, potentially, still used very commonly for your monitors. Now these ones are a little bit more difficult than USB-C or HDMI. There are screws at the end, so that way you can attach it, or thumb screws, to the connector. Now this here is the male connector, and the socket would be the female connector. Next we have RCA, Radio Corporation of America. And there are different colors. We have yellow, white, and blue. Does anyone know what the different colors do? Right here. One's going to be for video. 2 are going to be for audio. Does anyone know which one's for video? Right here. Yellow is for video. All right, so the other 2, white and red, are for audio. Does anyone know what left and right? White is left, white, and red is white, right. There we go. Very good. Easy day? What you've probably done is just switch them around until it works, right? Or you accidentally switch those left and right channels.
You ain't never seen one of these before. Would this be considered legacy, or is it getting to that point? Because it's been a while since I've seen, or I've even used these types of cables.
Yeah, these would be considered legacy. Most things are HDMI now. A lot of newer TVs are using an optical fiber cable, or even USB-C as well. We have any questions over here? We good? Everybody good? Just debating about the white and the red?
If they were old enough to use this, I remember.
Have you all seen it before? Yeah, yeah. Just been switching them around? But now it's good to know, right? As an IT, right? We're learning, right? So you should be going from a consumer of, oh, I'm just going to switch these around, to knowing video is yellow, right? So at least you've got that down, right? Easy day?
Most of them are color-coded on the device itself, too.
Most are color-coded on the device too, so. And I don't believe you can be an ITE if you're colorblind, but I think that may have gone away. All right, next, let's scroll down. Other ports and cables. So remember, I/O stands for what? Input, output. Very good, right? So we have other peripherals that we need to connect to. Now, when I say peripherals, I'm meaning things external to the computer. What are some peripherals that we know? Right here. Mouse and keyboard, very good. Printers, very good. Speakers, webcam, very good. Those are all considered peripherals. All right, so next we've got PS2, PlayStation 2? No, this stands for Personal System 2. These are keyed. They can only be oriented one way again as well. And these are kind of our legacy connectors for our mouse and keyboard. So we can see that purple is going to be, there usually is an icon, right? So you can see, oh, which one is for the keyboard and which one's for the mouse as well. So these are your legacy cables for your mouse and keyboard. The main thing for PS2 connectors is they are not hot swappable. What does hot swappable mean? Right here. That's right. When the computer's hot or turned on, if you disconnect it or if you plug it in, your mouse or your keyboard's not going to work. You have to reboot it, right? That's what hot swappable means. The computer's got to be off, plug it in, and then turn it on. If your computer's already on and you connect it, it's not going to work. Potentially crash it depending on your firmware, your drivers that we'll talk about later as well. Does hot swappable make sense to everyone? So PS2, are they hot swappable? No. Is that a good thing? No, right? Well, at least not for the users, right? Next, you are still going to see PS2 in the fleet a lot. All right, audio and gaming ports. Ooh, what would we call this card right here? What's the generic term for this card? Adapter card. This is an adapter card which is installed in an expansion slot. Very good. So here we can see an audio and game port. So you can see the different audio ports to connect your various audio devices, microphones, speakers, etc. And your gaming port so you can maybe a joystick or something. Next we have our network card. What did we call this? Our NIC, which stands for Network Interface Card. It could be wired. It could be wireless. You need to have a NIC, a Network Interface Card, to connect to the network. If not, you're not going to be able to get on the internet. You can't get on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Next we have SATA. Oh, we've talked about SATA before. There's two SATA cables up here. What's the one on the left? Power, which has how many pins? 15. The one on the right is data. How many pins? 7. And it looks like an L or a 7. Easy day. Next we have IDE, Integrated Drive Electronics. This is a form of ribbon cable. It's a ribbon because the wires inside are laid flat. It's like a ribbon. It's flexible. These are not as common inside your computer, but they still exist in various proprietary ways. Still with me? The two most common types of IDE are the 34-pin for floppy drives, because those are super common today, and the 40-pin for storage, modern storage like hard drives and optical drives. They are, yeah. To install a little, you got to apply a bit of pressure. All right, let's go back one picture. One more. All right, everyone see this connector on the end, that clear connector that's connected to the Ethernet cable? Does anyone know what that's called? Everybody? RJ45. What does the RJ stand for? Registered jack. That's just a fun thing you might need to know for an advancement exam or something like that. Now, RJ45 is for your network, but phones, they use a different RJ connector. They use RJ, That's right, 11. They use RJ11. We're going to learn a lot more about these later.
Where's Chief Moon? I thought he was supposed to be in here.
He is. He gets here a lot later.
He's still not.
Yeah.
God, okay, he's supposed to be on fucking watch.
Are you supposed to be on watch right now?
Yeah, OD, man. It's like this first watch.
Yep, yep.
Are we gonna be making any cables?
We are going to be making cables next week as well. So we're going to learn a lot about it. And you'll be able to take them home with you. No cap. IRL. 6-7. All right, let's skip ahead. USB, we already know, stands for Universal Serial Bus. These are very common, and we're going to learn a bit more about these once we start scrolling down.
50-50 chance of getting it right on the first try. Still takes 3 times.
That's right, yeah. Let's scroll down.
I never understood that phenomenon.
All right, we have adapters and converters. So there is a difference between an adapter and a converter. An adapter physically changes from one connector to another. A converter converts or translates one signal to another signal, right? Where the internals of it, the signals have to be converted, transferred to another signal type. So like a DVI to HDMI adapter would physically change it. Let's say you have a DVI port on your computer, but you have an HDMI cable. Well, you could use a DVI to HDMI adapter, so that way you could plug in your HDMI cable to your computer. But let's say you have a USB 3 and SATA. You may use a converter, right, that's able to convert that USB signal into a SATA signal. Questions about those two terms? Okay, next we have examples. Here, this is DVI to VGA. Now tell me, is the picture on the top left or the bottom right VGA? Bottom right is VGA. The top left is DVI. And who remembers we have DVI TAC A for analog, DVI I for both, DVI D for digital. And next we have, this is a converter. Here we have a USB to Ethernet converter. Different signal types, so it converts it over. Next we have USB to PS2 adapter. Now, PS2, you see a lot of these in the fleet, right? Because your computers are going to have PS2 ports on them. So if your tower, your PC has a PS2 port on it, you plug this in because you have a USB mouse or keyboard. Can you, if your computer's on, can you just plug it in? Well, I'm using a USB mouse or keyboard. I'm just using the adapter. It's still not hot swappable, right? Because that port on your computer is PS2. So you're just plugging this in the back so you can plug in that keyboard or mouse. So this is relevant for you to know, right? Because as the fleet attorney has already said, you're going to see these in the fleet. What are people going to tell you? I plugged my keyboard in, or I unplugged and plugged it back in, and now it's not working. Well, we know what's the problem? It's not hot swappable. So what's going to fix that? A reboot, right? You've probably heard, ITE always tells you, oh, did you reboot your computer, right? Well, here's one of those situations where you know 100%, right? Oh, I know my command uses PS2 adapters. Reboot the computer. They won't call back. We'll be good to go. Easy day. But now it's good for us, right, as ITs, right, to know the why does rebooting a computer fix certain things. Easy day? Next, we have DVI to HDMI. This is an adapter. What does an adapter do? Physically, right? Doesn't translate or convert the signal like a converter. So this is DVI to HDMI. DVI is on the right. Next we have Molex to SATA. Molex, we learned about this earlier. What's a Molex connector? Kind of legacy, what kind of devices?
Hard drives, optical drives,
Oh, it's hard drives, optical drives. What's that category called? Storage. Next we have HDMI to VGA converter. HDMI was originally designed for high definition televisions, or TV for short. Next, or let's scroll down. Let's see what we know. On the top left, if we click that button, let's do this. Unclick that. Scroll down a little bit. Click it again. What do we think this is? Everybody? DVI. Who remembers what DVI stands for? Digital Visual Interface. Who, yeah? All right, the next one. Let's click that. We think this is HDMI. Next, this is how many pins is that one? 7, which is for data. And where are those ports at? On the motherboard. Next, we have Thunderbolt. And finally, we have USB. Let's click submit. Woohoo! 100%. Good job. Scrolling down. Input devices. All right, so 2 terms. Input versus output devices. So think of input. You're inputting either some touch, some keys, some sort of information into the computer. Output, the computer is providing some information to some external device. So let's see what we already know. Can someone, let's say, what are some input devices we already know about? Input. Keyboard, fantastic, that's an input device. A mouse. A microphone is an input device, right? You're speaking, right? It's recording that signal and inputting it into the computer. Headphones would be an output device, right? Microphone is input. Headphones, right? Output, they're outputting sound. Grace, what'd you say? A camera, a webcam camera, right? That's inputting an image. A gaming controller. That could be input, output. We'll talk more about that later. Your CAC reader. That's an input device. All right, what about some output devices? Headphones, right? They're outputting sound, your music. Speakers. Printer. Well, let's go back to printer. A printer is an output device. Can a printer be an input device? Yes. If it has a scanner. Easy day? All right, so let's look at some input devices. So keyboard and mouse we already talked about, right? So a keyboard, that's where you have your QWERTY keyboard layout, where you can input your keystrokes. Your mouse to navigate the graphical user interface of a computer, so you can have your arrow move around and you can select things. Next we have a scanner. This is an input device. You're taking a real-world object, like a piece of paper, and you're scanning it so it can be digitally input. Next, well, let's go back a second. That can also include an ADF, which stands for Automatic Document Feeder. What's an automatic document feeder? Scans documents. So instead of, open up the scanner, page. Open it up, scan another one, right? You can put in your pages and it'll automatically feed them in and scan them, make them easier for the user. Now we can go to the next one. Joystick, gamepad. Oh, that's for a PS2, right? But not the PS2 we just learned about, because ITEs, right? What's PS2 to us for? What's it used for? Mouse and keyboard. So this is an input, right? You're inputting all of your angry motions to go play Minecraft or what other games there are. Hello Kitty Warlocks, you said? All right, next we have a KVM switch. This stands for keyboard, video, mouse. A lot of people, and even I do sometimes say keyboard, video, monitor. But video and monitor are the same thing, right? So keyboard, video, mouse. You all have one of these KVM switches at your computer. Notice how you click that button and it switches between one network to another network. But you can use the same keyboard and mouse and the same monitors to control 2 different computers. That works by the back side of the KVM, which stands for keyboard, video, mouse, right? So you connect those cables, right, to each computer on the back. But on the front, you have your keyboard, video, monitor, right, that are connected here. So you can just click a button, and it goes between the two computer systems. Does that make sense to everyone? No, now why would we do that? Well, we have two computer systems here, right? Two different networks. If you had another keyboard and another mouse on your computer, how much room would you have on your desk? You'd have a lot less, right? So it makes it easier. And for US and IT in the fleet, you're going to have unclassed systems. Stateside in the continental United States, that's called NMCI, Navy and Marine Corps Intranet, which we'll define later. Overseas or outside of the continental United States, you have OneNet or OCONUS Navy Enterprise Network. You also have classified systems, like our secret system is called SIPRNet. We have Top Secret, which is JWICS. You have NSA Net. Here we have different training environments. The two networks you have are TRAINET, which is the official Navy's training network, and we have ITOF or ITTN as well. So there's a lot of different networks. So imagine going to a job and you've got keyboard, mouse, monitors, keyboard, mouse, monitors, keyboard, mouse, monitors. That's a lot, right? You want to be able to have a smoother layout. Easy day? Questions? Comments? Next one is, or let's scroll down, new input devices. These may be more familiar to you. So the next one is a touch screen. This has a digitizer on the front, so that way you can take your finger, right, and you can use it as an input instead of a mouse. Next we have a stylus. So this type of digitizer as well, so instead of your finger, right, you can draw things. You've probably seen this at the bank, where you can draw your signature. Or maybe you did that at MEPS to sign your life away. Next we have a magnetic strip reader. What's this used for? Your debit cards, your credit cards. Next we have a barcode scanner. So that can just scan with lasers, right, the information there. Now if we go back one, nowadays we don't just have the magnetic strip on our cards, we also have tap to pay, which we're going to learn about later and the different standards and how that works. Scrolling down, we have more new input devices. What's this called here? A webcam, right? Is that an input or output device? Input. And this may have a camera on it or a microphone on it as well, which is also an input. Next we have a digital camera. Probably not as common these days because these are built into your smartphones, but this is an input device as well. Next we have another webcam. Next, signature pad we talked about. Next we have a smart card reader, not just the magnetic strip, but it's got that smart chip on it, which is more secure, and then you can enter your PIN. And a microphone we talked about. Are there any questions on input devices? Next we have, scrolling down, even more input devices. Next, NFC stands for Near Field Communication. It's a subset of RFID and Bluetooth. This is what will allow you to do your tap to pay. Now it's built into most newer debit and credit cards. You can also have it on your smartphones, your iPhones, your Androids, etc. Now, there is a security risk with this as well because, right, you can wirelessly tap to pay, but someone else could just be walking with a briefcase or now they're real small and they could be collecting your information. So one way to prevent against this is to get an RFID wallet or RFID sleeves. Is just some aluminum that goes in it to block that signal from getting out. This would be a great investment for you, especially as you travel overseas. You don't know if someone is collecting your information. Question? RFID.
So a lot of a lot of this technology now has been a little bit more secured by the actual protocols, and so you can't walk by. No, it requires an active transaction for it to actually connect.
Correct. If people are updating their devices and their cards and things. So, and the most vulnerable people we know. So, all right, next we have facial recognition. This is a form of biometric. When we say biometric, what are we talking about? Right here. Faces, fingerprints, voices, your body, something that's unique to you, right? So this is a biometric. So let's talk about various biometrics. We know that facial recognition, your smartphones have those, right? You've got your fingerprint, right, for some devices, some phones, some laptops. If you go to certain locations within the military, you also use your fingerprint as well. You can use your voice. There are more advanced things as well, like your gait, which is your walk, right? Places in China, right, they can identify you based off of your unique gait of your walk as well, and your irises in your eyes as well. So this is becoming more and more advanced. Easy day? So those are all biometrics, right, about the human. Next, fingerprint scanner we talked about. This is a type of biometric. Next, voice recognition. That's a form of biometric. Next, virtual reality headsets. Let's talk about two things, VR and AR. Virtual reality, augmented reality. So that they're different, right? So you both put them over your face and your eyes, right? Which one completely puts you in a new environment? So if I put it on right now, and I was in the ancient jungle and, there's a dinosaur, and I don't see any of you anymore. What is that, VR or AR? VR, virtual reality, completely puts you in a new environment. And which one would be, we're here, and then all of a sudden, there's a crocodile coming through? AR, augmented reality. It augments or adds on something, right? You can still see everything, right? And just add something to your environment. That's augmented reality. You with me, Cheng? All right, let's scroll down. And let's see what we know. What was the first type of input device? We're saying keyboard, all right?
Yes.
Submit. Very good. A company is building. We got a question first.
Okay, so back to the VR and the
AR, augmented reality.
So do you know those like golf games where you like hit the ball and then it has like the green screen, and it like tells you how far like the ball goes? Would that be like VR or like AR?
That's a good question. Are you wearing goggles in that situation?
No.
No, so then I don't think it would be either. It would just be a screen, right? And I guess it'd probably be more in the AR realm.
But it like shows you like how far the ball is going and all that.
Yeah,
How the ball like hits like a wall or something.
I would say that's more augmented reality because it augments and makes this portion of your world different instead of the whole thing. But probably that's a tough one. All right, next question. A company is building a new secure data center and wants to limit access to authorized personnel. What would be the best type of input device to implement secure, limited access? Biometric. Notice again, let's go back up, or don't submit yet. Let's use that tactic we learned earlier. And let's eliminate two and let's get it down to 50-50. Which two have nothing to deal with it? Very good. All right. So biometric. That's it. Submit. Good job. And another question. True or false? Barcode scanners are used at self-checkout counters in large department stores. True. True. That's an easy one because we've probably all been in that exact situation before. Booyah? Yeah. Which 4 input functions are available on most current smartphones? Choose 4. Do you tell me yes or no? Keyboard?
No.
I'm hearing no. Touchpad?
Yes.
NFC tap to pay?
Yes.
Microphone? fingerprint reader.
Touchpad is the laptop. I think it's touch screen. It's not touchpad.
Hold on, I'm hearing something, right?
It's not touchpad.
Touchpad.
No, it's not touchpad. It's not touchpad. No.
Let's say so we want to replace keyboard with.
No.
They're saying touchpad is that signature pad.
I'm aware, but there's no on your
Tanner? All right, raise your hand for keyboard. Raise your hand for touchpad.
It's touch screen. It's not touchpad.
I think keyboard once. Let's remove touchpad. Let's put in keyboard and see what we got. That's right. So remember, right? Touch screen, touchpad. Right? That's that signature pad. Right? Doesn't have a screen on it, but it's using that stylus to write nothing on that, and then it goes into a computer. Scrolling down, we're going to talk about output devices now. So a monitor. Scroll down a little bit. Here we can see a monitor. There are different types of monitors. Scroll down a bit more. Scroll up. Scroll up. Projector. So instead of it being here, right, it would be either ceiling mounted or somewhere that uses light to project the image onto a flat surface. VR headset. VR stands for virtual reality. Completely puts you in a new environment. The other one is called augmented reality, or AR, and it augments or adds additional things. And a printer, right, produces an actual real world copy of something. Now, for you all, we call that physical copy a hard copy. On the computer, we call that a soft copy. You're probably going to hear, oh, I need that in a hard copy. They mean they want it printed out with a wet signature and signed. Oh, send me a soft copy. That means just email them the document. Easy day? Yeah. Scrolling down. More output devices, speakers and headphones. They're outputting sound, music to you. Easy day? Yeah. Scrolling down. Monitors. So we're going to learn about different monitor technologies, LCD, LED, OLED, etc. We'll learn some various phrases. Next. Projector. Now, how this works is there's a color wheel that goes around to project light through those various colors to get the image. Commonly uses DLP, or digital light processing technology. Scrolling down. VR and AR, we talked about. So we can go through this. And printers. We have a whole chapter on printers later. A whole chapter. Yeah, it's going to be great after the midterm. So you've got inkjet printers, which uses ink to print. The output comes out wet. They're generally pretty slow. The initial cost is cheap, but the cost of ink is expensive. You have laser printers, which we'll talk about, which uses toner. That comes out dry and warm. You have an impact printer, which strikes the piece of paper to impact. And we'll learn more about this later. Like a typewriter is a form of an impact printer. You have a 3D printer. You have additive and resin printers that we'll learn about later. And you have thermal printers. This is where you get your receipts from your fast food locations. You've probably seen, like on a pizza, right? If you leave that receipt, it turns black. It is using heat to produce that image. Low resolution, but overall it's cheaper than every receipt getting an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Easy day? All right, scrolling down. More about speakers. Click next. Headphones, click next, or scroll down. Let's see what we know. Most computers and mobile devices have audio support either integrated into the motherboard or an adapter card. Audio support also includes ports that allow input and output of audio signals. We've got a few options more down. I'm hearing speakers. Let's go with speakers. They usually do not close off ambient light to users, allowing them to see their real life surroundings. AR, ooh, good confidence, very good. These all have hardware that must be maintained, and most have software in the form of Drivers that we'll learn about that have to be kept up to date. Printers. LED is an LCD display that uses LED backlighting. LED has lower power consumption than standard LCD backlighting, so the panel can be thinner, lighter, and have better contrast. DLP stands for Digital Light Processing. Uses a spinning color wheel. What's this one? Projectors. Scroll. Yeah, here we go. They may have a variety of sensors, including motion, exterior visual positioning cameras, motion tracking, VR. And finally, these may be wired or wireless. Some are Wi-Fi or Bluetooth enabled. Headphones. Submit. 100%. Very good. Scrolling down. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?